Hello, everyone. In this one, we're going to be talking about what is the worst thing you can do to a narcissist. And many of you may want to see them suffer for what they put you through. And I get that. But honestly, the worst thing that you can do to a narcissist, it's not about discrediting them, confronting them, exposing them. But yeah, the worst thing that you can do to a narcissist is to enable them. Let them carry on with this false character, thinking that that's who they are. This is escapism. It's a defense mechanism, survival mechanism. They are extremely insecure. Deep down, they feel inadequate. So they disconnect from themselves. They dissociate. And I know many of you may be thinking, I feel disconnected from myself. I often dissociated. Yeah, but that's because that was induced in you. They triggered you to dissociate deliberately because that keeps the illusion alive. If you know who you are, your worth, what you really deserve, the illusion falls apart. The illusion is kept alive by your self-doubt, by them making you think that something is wrong with you. Because you're real, so the real destroys the fake. It exposes it. Your light exposes their darkness. So this is how that works. And this is why they always try and destroy your light. Because they build themselves up at your expense. But yeah, enabling them, just letting them carry on, that is the worst thing you can do. Because then they will never heal, they will never grow, they will never become anything better, they will stay stuck, stagnant. And they will always be in that state, where they just constantly repeat the cycle. They get involved with one person, they idealize them, only because they want that person to idealize them. They give the lies, the future faking, the manipulation. They try and get it to carry on the illusion for as long as they can. Eventually, the supply sees through them. Or the supply pushes, for more to progress. Like, let's advance on this, we're meant to be together here. We're meant to be interested in each other. You're supposed to be the one for me, my soulmate. So let's move things forward. And that's it, when you're pressuring them to be the person who they made you believe that they were, it's very uncomfortable for them. They can't give you anything because they don't have it. That's not really who they are. And that's never going to be who they are. They're not even interested in being that. All they care about is the validation. And the performance only goes so far. They can only do so much with it. It's not deep. Because it's all just an act. And that's why when you're pressuring them to reciprocate, they get mad and they lash out at you. Or they just ghost you, they disappear. Because they know what you want. They know you want the false character, they know you want the fantasy that they display to you. The problem is that is not them. That's what the problem is. The problem isn't that you're not good enough. As they make you think as though you have to give more of your attention, more of your validation, more of your resources. That might motivate them a bit more with the performance because then they know you're invested. They assume that you must believe in it then, if you're invested in it. And of course, it drives them because you're giving them your energy and your validation. But that's just it, it's never going to go deeper. It's never going to be real. They try to make you insecure. They target your confidence to make you do and give more for them, and also to keep you unaware that this illusion is not real. Their act is fake, it's deceptive. So that's all they're really trying to do, and they're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep experiencing pain, disappointment, dissatisfaction, frustration from the exposure, confrontation. And they're never going to get that real love, that real validation that they're looking for. Because no one is ever going to love or accept the real them. It's never going to happen. I can tell you, even people who get stuck in these long-term relationships with them, they don't even want them. They don't really want them. I'm telling you, all they want is the fantasy. All they want is the false character, the performance. And that's just something that's really just a figment of our imagination. It's just that they are kind of a catalyst. They are the physical representation of it, but it's not really them. It's like coupling, paired association. We associate it with them. They train us to do that, but nothing about them aligns with it at all. It's just this is being taught to us, and we've been taught all sorts of things throughout our lives, like certain colors. Like we've been taught that this is white. But yeah, we've been taught things, and that's what they do. They teach you to associate certain things together. Coupling, paired association. But that is not them. And you just keep on waiting, you keep expecting something to be better. It's never going to be real. It's never going to be them. The best you'll ever get is the performance. And nothing is ever going to so perfectly align with your interests, your desires. It's always going to be a performance with whoever you're with, but especially with a narcissist. And that's all they can really do is keep performing, knowing that no one really wants them. And that's why they're so insecure, is because no one really wants or loves them. They all just want the fantasy, their idealism. And it's really sad, but that's just how it is. And this is why they push away people who are honest, authentic, and want connection. They push those people away, the very people who can give them love, what they're looking for. Those are the people they push away, because that would require them to connect to themselves. And deep down they feel inadequate, so they can't. And that's why they just keep going with the false character, the false image, the performance instead. Because at least then they could be a representative of that. They can align with it and still garner validation as long as people believe in it. So this is how these damaged narcissists, they push away the very people who could actually love them. Love the real them. Accept them. And they do so much, they burn the bridge to the point where even those people can't accept them anymore. Because they do so many things to you where it's like, you just can't look at them the same way anymore. You just can't ever accept them now. And it's really sad, but this is what they do. This is how it ends up for them. And this is why, if you enable them, if you just let them carry on, you don't intervene. That's the worst thing that could ever happen. It encourages their disorder, their delusions. It's going to make them more miserable, more bitter, more resentful. Reason being that they see us idealizing things as well. They see us being satisfied with ourselves, enjoying people, certain activities, and there's a reason why they envy that so much. Why they envy your idealism, your passions, because they know it's never going to be like that for them. This is why they're jealous of any relationships you have with friends, pets, children, whoever it may be. Because they see that it's unconditional, it's real. Well, as for them, they have to peer out behind their mask. They know they're never going to experience real love, real acceptance. They're never going to be flawless. They're never going to be perfect for you. They know that. And this is how they just end up pushing you away when you push for a connection, when you push for things to move forward. And of course, they envy your authenticity and how people they accept you just for being real, just for being authentic. Because they feel it's never going to be that way for them. All they really have is their image, their false character, and it's not even real. but it's all they've got, and that's why they cling to it. That's why they can't ever let it go. Yeah, that's just always how it's going to be for them. And this is why they envy anything real. They feel threatened by it because it has the power to expose them, and also because they wish they could be something real. And that's why, even when you catch on to them, you figure them out, they just want to go back to how things were before. And that's how they will always want it to be. They will always try and push for things to go back to how they used to be when you were innocent, unaware of them. They will always just pretend to be something real. Just like with the catfishing. Like people who use these fake accounts, they're pretending to be something real when really they're fraudulent, deceptive. It's almost like they regret it in some ways. Like they wish they could be real. They wish they could be authentic. And you'll always see them, trying to come back. They will always try and act like they are innocent and unaware, and they will push for that in you. They'll push for a lack of experience in you because that's how they get the validation. Because when you know what you're really dealing with, when you know what they're really about, they get nothing. All they can do is intimidate you then as a source of power. So yeah, this is how it goes for them, and it's why the worst thing you can do is enable them. Don't fight them. Don't try to expose them. Let them continue. It's the worst thing you can do. The best thing that could ever happen to them is if you do expose them, if you do ruin their reputation, isolate them, just destroy everything. That is the best thing that could ever happen to them. Because then it means they could start again for real. It might trigger them to self-reflect and actually do the inner work. And then they can actually find inner peace. Then they wouldn't need external validation. At least not to that extreme. I personally, I do prefer if narcissists do self-reflect and do heal. But that's only because I'm at a certain point in my healing journey where I'm able to let go. I mean, maybe not forgive so much, but, I still want the best for people. But I get it. I know that many of you, you've been through so much with them and you want to see them get theirs. And I understand that. But yeah, this is how you've got to see it, that this will help you to move on and heal. Is when you just recognize that they're just like the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, pretending to be God, pretending to have some type of power when really they don't. It's like you're being catfished. They put up a picture of a sweet, innocent, beautiful woman, when in reality, they are the opposite of that. In reality, they are less than average in looks. They're overweight. They're slobs, bums. They're very moody, bitter, resentful. That's what they're really like. And you really just have to drill that into your minds. And just lose that belief in the false image, because that's not really them. And that's never going to be them. And honestly, the longer you keep holding on, the longer you keep expecting, the more it's just going to hurt you. Because you're never going to get that. You're never going to see it. You might see glimpses of it because, like I said, they can perform. They're master manipulators. That's how they survive. They are really good actors. But it's never actually going to be that for real. And it's always just going to be feeding this fantasy in your minds. As coined by Professor Sam Baccarin, it's always going to be the shared fantasy. Shared idealism. It's never going to be actually existing in reality. Because it's not real. And it's never going to be real. Don't let it anger you. Don't let it frustrate you. I get it. You gave it all. You invested everything into them. got nothing back. Of course, that could upset anyone. What should help to alleviate it is by recognizing that they never had anything real to give anyway. It was always just going to be illusions, tricks. That's the best that they had to give. It was never going to be anything better. And that's just it. You don't need someone else to trick you to make you feel better. You could just trick yourself. And actually, it's less harmful because then you don't get trauma bonded. There's no trauma bond involved. But this is it, it's just that we wanted it to be real so bad. We wanted to idealize them. We wanted to see it as though this person is going to make our lives better. They're going to make us happy. And that was the power for them. That's what they were looking for. That's their ideal type of target, is someone who believes in it. Someone who go along with it without asking questions. That's what they're looking for.